It's just really imperative that we have a good understanding of how to positively cope with and deal with our emotions, as well as to be able to show empathy and grace and support to others. Right now, across the country, in our own community, we are dealing with two public health crises, one being COVID-19 and the other, the racial injustice that many of us are facing. Because of that, it can really take a mental toll on you. It really can take a mental health toll on how we're feeling, how we're handling emotions and coping with our day-to-day life. Um, some of these stressors are also physical, so really feeling different things in your body because of what you're going through. And then we also have the financial stress of really just trying to make ends meet and provide for our families and our loved ones. So as a result of that, you may see within yourself or even within those that you're interacting with, your children, you may see a high stress level, anxiety and fear. You may see some grief and loss and sadness, and may just also have some issues with balance and, just really trying to focus on what you can do to move to the next step. So for Rochester City School District, 90% of our scholars are students of color. So when we talk about the two public health crises, the racial injustice is huge, and exposure to discrimination and different biases also leads to increased daily stress and more negative psychological and physiological issues. So as I said, because of the two public health crises, COVID-19 and racial injustice, you may see a lot of different signs of stress, such as mood swings or having difficulty engaging or paying attention. And you may also see some negative coping strategies or skills. So our goal is to be able to provide you with resources that we have within the community, as well as within Rochester City School District, to really help and support you to combat all of these things. If I didn't state it earlier, if you have any questions about what we're talking about today, please feel free to write your questions in the chat and we'll do our best to be able to answer them.
Hi, everyone. Elizabeth Reyes here. Thank you, Crystal, for introducing me. The Department of Student Support Services has different programs and services to help students and families. Listed here are the contact persons for each area. Social workers can provide individual, group, and crisis counseling, social emotional support, and advocacy, among other support based on students' needs. Counselors also provide social emotional support, advocacy, academic, and career advisement. We have student support centers, which connect students to mental health and other community resources. We have the Rock Restorative Team that facilitates restorative circles with students. They also can work with parents and staff. Let me see. They help with social emotional learning, and they also provide leadership opportunities for students. We also have families in transition.
Okay. I'm an RV dealer. Oh, okay. All right. I told you RV dealer.
Can you? Families in Transition, which is our program that helps homeless students and families. They can help with basic needs, hygiene items, clothes, book bags, and any school supplies that students need. And they also have a social worker on hand to help with case management support. Next slide. Where's Miss Crystal? Thank you. So every school has a social worker. There are many reasons why a student may want to see a social worker and speak to a social worker: peer relationships, self-esteem issues, challenges at school or home. Social workers can provide brief, short, short-term or ongoing counseling based on student needs. Social emotional support, social workers and counselors also can do restorative circles, behavioral intervention, staff consultation, among other forms of support. On here are two links. One is the link to the social work webpage, which is found on the Student Support Services webpage, and Crystal's going to show you what that page actually looks like in the district website. And the other list are social workers, what schools they're at, and their contact information. We also have a hotline, a social emotional hotline that's available Monday through Friday, 8 to 3. And then any calls after 3 will be filtered to Center for Youth 24-hour hotline.
So as I stated, I work as a director of student support services. In my role, I oversee our school counselors throughout our district. So we have school counselors in grades K through 12 throughout our district. Some of the reasons why a student may see a school counselor is support with their academics, helping to map out and plan their next steps towards graduation and after high school. Any social emotional issues they may have. So if they're having difficulty with a friend, just really wanting to talk about family dynamics and needing some more support and coping strategies, school counselors can assist with that. And then also college and career. We really want to make sure that our students have college and career goals and really working to help them achieve those goals for life after high school. So as Elizabeth stated, the social workers as well as the school counselors are listed under our Student Support Services website. We also have a directory for school counselors throughout our district. In addition to the directory, we have upcoming events. So you know what events are related to parents as well as scholars as it relates to school counseling, the academic, social, emotional, and college and career components. And as I stated, if you have any questions or you're not sure what to do or where to go, utilize that directory to speak with your school counselor. They're available via email or by phone or a Zoom appointment. Each school counselor has a Google Classroom with all of their students, so they're able to communicate with those students that way. They make phone calls to students as well and set up individual as well as group appointments to be able to help the students. In addition to that, we have a social emotional check-in that's embedded into all of our school schedules. So during that time, social workers and or counselors collaborate with teachers to be able to really help do some lesson planning and teach the students some strategies to help them cope with the different things that they have going on. So as I stated, we have our Student Support Services website and resources. All of the things that we have discussed today when we talk about resources within Rochester City School District, as well as within the community, is available on this website. After this PowerPoint will be shared with you all. So you'll be able to work through the website to see what we have available. And again, Elizabeth, as well as my contact information is available on the website. So if you have questions or more concerns, definitely reach out to us regarding that.
The following are highlights of community resources for counseling, crisis support, and other mental health supports. Some of the resources have walk-in hours, like the Catholic Family Center, and others you would have to call and schedule a Zoom teletherapy appointment. 211, the Suicide Prevention, Child Abuse, and Domestic Violence hotlines, their numbers are actually monitored 24 hours a day. And 211, should you forget all these names and all these agencies, 211 can direct you to them, or they would have a list themselves that they can assist you to refer you to the right locale for support. We also have U of R health centers in the district who are currently accepting students in grades 5 and up, Monday through Friday, 8 to 3, and you can access this service using the link provided. Mindfulness and self-care are critical to social emotional health and well-being, even physical health. Boundaries are important to have as part of self-care. Make sure to take breaks and be intentional about self-care by making time to do the things that you enjoy. Feelings and needs, be aware of your feelings and healthy outlets to help you process and express them. In control, recognizing what is and isn't in your control will help you find peace and rest and learn to let things go. Joy, there are beautiful moments that bring us joy, or we can create them. Self-care routines need to become a lifestyle embedded throughout the day, especially in the beginning and the end of the day. Remember to be good to yourself. The last one is, so lastly, we wanted to share with you some self-care sites that you can look up and use daily to promote your own social, emotional well-being. Any questions?
In addition to that, I just want to highlight the first two sites that are available are also applications that you can download for free on your cell phone. And it really just kind of walks you through guided breathing, helping you to de-stress and just decrease your anxiety by doing some daily things. Maybe it's 1 to 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or even longer to help you decrease anxieties and stress throughout your day. So those are available for download. If you guys have additional questions, as Elizabeth said, please feel free to ask those questions in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them for you. I'm gonna stop share so that we can all see each other. Now we see each other on the Brady Bunch screen. So in our last session, we did give everyone the opportunity to go through and introduce themselves and ask any questions that they may have. So if anyone would like to unmute and introduce yourself, please feel free to do so. While you guys are doing that, I will be answering questions in the chat.
Hello, I'm Kelly Briggs, Director of Community Schools.
Good afternoon, I'm Willa Powell. I'm the board commissioner assigned to this breakout room. I will say to those who are new visiting this breakout room for the first time that this isn't my area of expertise. We have other board members that are much more connected to social emotional resources, such as Commissioner LeBron and Commissioner Elliott works in community-based services as well. So this has been a learning experience sitting through this presentation myself, and I want to welcome you all.
Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Clark. I'm the Director of School-Based Programs for the Center for Youth. And we have been, for the last 25 years, a very proud, strong collaborative partner with the Rochester City School District and currently provide social emotional support services in the school district, which we call the help zones. And we're in most of the schools in the district. So the Center for Youth is an agency that provides both runaway and homeless services and school-based services. And we support 100% the families and students of the Rochester City School District, as well as the City of Rochester community. And we are an agency that is open 24/7. And there is a number, the 271-7670 number, where you can call for any emergency services or support, and you will actually talk to a person 24/7. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, again.
Before the next person shares out, I just want to answer some of the questions in the chat. So someone asks, are there any resources or trainings available to address issues related to racial injustice for teachers, social workers, etc.? It seems like there's a lot of conversations happening around racial injustice and inequities, and the conversations can be more harmful than helpful if proper training is not available. So currently within our department, we are working on implementing an equity plan to ensure that we are providing training and support for our colleagues throughout the district to ensure that we are supporting our students of color, our staff of color, and our students overall to address racial inequities and other issues that they may be facing in the community. Elizabeth can speak more to what is occurring. Elizabeth, if you could just piggyback.
Yes, I know that in the past, all new staff has gotten training on racism and implicit bias, and that continues to happen. So all new staff will go through that training. We also have several PDs that are offered to staff through the restorative team. So that's ongoing as well. We also have a group of student leaders, the ROC responders, that work in collaboration with the restorative team, and they're also trained in social injustice and things like that, and really trained to talk to their peers about these issues. And that's really gone well.
Another question that we have in the chat, are the teachers aware of the resources available to families? So just like this forum, we provide training and supports for our teachers to share this forum and share this information. In addition to that, embedded in all of our school schedules, we have social emotional learning check-in time that the teachers facilitate with support from school counselors, social workers, and community partnerships. With that SEL check-in time, we actually provide them with lesson plans, provide them with community resources, etc., so they are aware. And if they had any additional questions or concerns, they definitely can reach out to the school counselor or social worker, as well as our student support center coordinators that we have within our district and our community school coordinators, who all are well versed in the resources that are available to families.
Yes, and training is ongoing. Like on Wednesdays, we have training for staff, and it's a topic that's on the agenda frequently, and it's going to be throughout, especially in this remote situation.
I'm Jess Gustafson. I am a parent at School 15, and I'll just jump in because that was my comment. And so I'll just say I appreciate that there has been efforts, and I have no doubt that you guys are working on it. But just from a parent perspective, and just some of the things that I've seen, especially now because it is coming into the home and I can see and hear things. And I know that our teachers are very well-meaning, but there's a big divide between their lived experiences and the experiences of those, as you know, in our community and students of color. And some students were actually informed about things that their parents didn't even want them to know about yet. And it was a traumatic situation for several families, and we dealt with it as a school. But just to encourage you to continue to really work on that level and press into that, because I obviously don't have the lived experiences, but because we're in our community and getting to know people on a different level, I've learned a lot, and things have been very eye-opening to me. And I know that many of our teachers and social workers just don't, they just have a very different worldview. And so just continuing to really push into that, I think will be real important for our students.
And we really appreciate your comments. That's definitely our goal, to continue to work with all of the stakeholders that we have throughout our district to make sure that this information is learned and embedded and at the forefront of their focus. It's really important to us as a district, and one of our goals to ensure that we have equity and access for students across the district. And we're having that equity and access, making sure that our staff are equipped to deal with those things. So we really appreciate that feedback. Thank you.
And this is Toyin. That was also my question in the chat as a parent, and the reason why I asked too about parents knowing. I was looking, I mean, teachers knowing, because I'm thinking, I mean, they're at this point, our students are online with their teachers, and I mean, if a parent, the first person a parent is going to communicate with probably is that teacher, stating what's going on with the parent. Because as you stated, in the presentation, children and adults alike are going through this stressful situation. And, this is only amplifying situations in our community that already exist. So people are already dealing with stress and anxiety. We just added a whole bunch of other stress, So I'm like, the teacher might be the first person that hears that, okay, something might be going on with this parent or this child. So that's why I wanted to really know, does all the teachers in our district are equipped with the knowledge enough to say, hey, I'm going to recommend this. I know this resource is available. You could contact this person, because more than likely, nobody else in the district will have any communications with certain parents besides their child or children teacher. So that's why it's imperative for me to know for the emotional and support for our families. So thank you for that.
Yes, and thank you again for speaking your mind and really sharing that information with us. Again, we continue to work throughout our district to ensure that our teachers are well versed and understand the resources that are available. But we do have those who may not know. If they are not in the know, what they do know is who to talk to be able to get the resource for the child. So if the teacher per se doesn't know the resource off the top of their head, what's best for the student, they know to work with the other partners that we have, which is our school counselors, social workers, our student and family support center coordinators, as well as our community school coordinators. All of those people know the different resources that we have within the community and within Rochester City School District to really be able to help the scholar. So that's really what we push. If you are not aware yourself, obviously, we share that information so they can know, but just always speak with your school counselor, social worker, student support center coordinator, or community school coordinator, and we'll be able to collaborate with that teacher to get that support out to them.
I really appreciate that, Ms. Clark, because if you think about it, probably the majority of the parents or families that need to be on this Zoom is not present.
Right.
That doesn't mean that their need is any less. So that's why, like I said, the teachers is the first line of defense, you would say, because Zoom starts on Monday, more than likely it's a teacher that they would interact with. So that's why, to me, the teachers are the first line of defense. They should be equipped with enough information to guide these families in the right direction. So thank you again.
Absolutely, no problem. And just to reiterate, in our last presentation that we had, 211 is a great resource that we have within our community. If a parent or student dials 211, they'll be able to get access to our different partners, over 50,000 partners that we have throughout Rochester City School District, if you're not able to get in contact with your school. So first, school is the first line of defense, if you have questions or concerns. And within that school, we'll work with all of our partners and the RCSD staff to be able to help you get what you need. If we don't have that resource or support within the school, then we reach out to community supports outside of the school, like a 211, et cetera. And Kelly, would you like to chime in? Because I know that your staff really supports this effort as well.
Yes, we consistently, community schools, site corners, like Ms. Clark mentioned earlier, we have continual resources that each week, we tap into, share with each other, and most of our schools have systems in place where, just like Ms. Clark said, counselor, social worker, community school, cycle, it's always in that order. So, and they all collaborate together, and we're all connected to all of the partners. So we do whatever we can to ensure that, we're meeting the needs of our families, especially this time of year, with different holidays that are coming up. We're like right now, I'm going to be emailing my coordinators an updated list of resources for families. We're trying to have food drive events. We had 2 of them 2 weeks ago where parents were able to drive up and we loaded their trunks with food. So we're continually trying to find out when a different situation comes, how can we all work together, you know, to make sure our families have what they need.
Would anyone else like to share out what child your school attends? Any information or questions you may have, services, please feel free to do so. You can also write in the chat if you want to direct message me. If you don't want to speak to the entire Brady Bunch screen, you can always direct message me to let me know if you have questions about anything. If you don't have any questions, you are free to go back to the main room.
I don't have a question, but I will tell you, I have a 5th grader at the Montessori, my daughter, and I have an 8th grader at 58.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, welcome.
Anyone else would like to share out or have additional questions? I just want to also state in our last meeting, this also came up. There were questions about what other community resources were available where students would be able to get face-to-face time or interaction with their peers. So in another session, they are talking about the different learning labs that we have throughout the city of Rochester, as well as different physical activities for the students to participate in, so they are more active and not feeling isolated at home. So we have our centers that are located throughout the Rochester community, as well as the YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, and In Control, that offer, and most recently our local libraries that offer learning labs or learning pods where students in our district can go to get support. There's teachers' assistants available to help the students, and then thereafter they have youth programming. We also have Center for Youth here as well. Paul, if you want to highlight any of your program, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, just to reiterate the presence that we have in the schools in regards to the help zones. And I know very recently we've been including a satellite for some East High students over at a local, it's the Blessed Sacrament School that is no longer in existence for the school. But again, we have many resources for families and students. So please do not hesitate to contact us.
All right, well, thank you all again for attending. If you guys have any questions, Elizabeth, as well as myself, our emails are available to you all. I'll also put the information in the chat. So if you guys have any questions where you want to speak directly to us, please feel free to do so. And again, if you don't have any more questions, you are free to go back to the main room.